Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm your host, Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at four new, really cool new knives that I have, thanks to some great companies and thanks to my bank account on one of them. Also, we have a Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway tonight, and it's going to be of the Vostede Bellamy. This is one of those cases where you open your mouth and then you have to follow up. I just put a gouge in my computer, but that's all right. We've been talking about how I need to get a new computer anyway, and I've been actually jotting notes on it, and the knife is fine. So this is the knife we're giving away tonight for the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway of March 2023. This is the Vostede Bellamy. We'll get into this, but it's M390 blade steel, deeply hollow ground, really beautiful clip point with carbon fiber handles and awesome drop shot action. Now, how important is that to you? We're going to find out in a while when we talk about how important is drop shot action and really a wider conversation on action. I had a great conversation last night with someone who will be on the show this weekend of Vandrer Knives. Ground Fog, how's it going, sir? Good to have you here. And, there was a discussion about fixed blades and folders and that kind of thing. Made me think. Byron Kennedy, great to have you here. Howdy, Bob. Jim Junkies, best live of the week, Thursday Night Knives. Well, I appreciate you, sir. I love hearing that, This old sword, how's it going, man? We have Dave here. He's been on another tear, getting just some fantastic knives. And this is kind of something. He says, well, I feel a bit grumpy tonight, so decided to stop by. Hey, you know that guy is with the scythe standing behind me? He says, laughing. So if you don't know what the grumpy is, you should find out. It's from Bastinelli Knives, and Dave has a killer collection of Bastinelli knives, but this is a Bastinelli sort of knife. It's very cool. It is indeed a hand scythe. I mean, woe be it to the man who steps to Dave with that scythe in his hand. Robert Douglas, good to have you here, Robert. He says, hey, right back at you, sir. Great name. Ket McNessard, good to have you here. Good evening, Bob, Jim, Junkies. Excited for another awesome Thursday Night Knives. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Robert Douglas says, I must be tired. Forgot to hit the like button, but I can fix that. Well, thank you, sir. And if it's any help, you can stab it, you can slash it, you can use your puño. Just make sure it happens. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate your reminding everyone who happens to be here. If it's your druthers, hit that like button. Aberdeen Blades, good to have you here, Aberdeen. I just am seeing the knife in your, sometimes the boy can be blind. Hello, all. Enjoy the show. I love that. Butterfly with the knife coming straight through it. Have a nice day. Great to see you here, sir. Good evening, Brother DeMarco. Well, good evening to you, sir. Brother, have a nice day. I'm not going to say your name because I don't know if that's cool. Chris, good to have you here, Chris. I know it's cool to say your name. Blade Ogre, our good buddy here with the 9 knives. I missed somehow missed your, usually you have a pocket dump on Wednesday or Thursday that I always catch on Instagram, but I've been so busy. I haven't had time. Will be evening junkies, Bob, Jim, and everyone. As a matter of fact, Will be, it's a pleasure to have you here, sir, as always. I say I don't have time for Instagram and YouTube, but today I managed actually. But it was a few minutes before I was going live at my work show, and I was pretending I had a really important email or something happening on my phone, but really I was trying to get the Instagram video up that I made today, shared it across the platforms. Nick EDC, good to have you here, sir. Hey, everyone. Bob and Jim, he says, with applause. Well, I applaud you, sir. Apex Alchemy, always good to see you, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, he says. If you haven't checked out Apex Alchemy, if you haven't checked out Apex Alchemy's channel yet, you must. It is very good knives, very good think pieces, if you will, and just awesome commentary about knives. So great to have you here, sir. Jay McConnell, also great to have you. And the answer is yes. Officially now, you can have number 17. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. I know I said yes to you before, but now it's a solid official. Never Enough Knives 007. Good to have you here. Salutations, Junkie. I think Thursday Night Knives is the official start of the weekend. I like that. It should be. It should be considered so. Hey, Edwin, how's it going, sir? Good evening, y'all. Actually, interesting. Edwin was last weekend or last month's Gentleman Junkie winner with the titanium and 20 CV Penguin Plus. I hope you're liking that knife. Man, I was looking. You posted today a super a Super 15 Emerson Super 15 and a oh, what's his name? Now I'm just blanking because I was trying to think of it. And he was on the show and he makes really, really awesome tactical knives. And oh, dag nabbit. You'll have to drop it in the comments. For some reason, I'm mind blocking. I know what that reason is. Getting up there. Byron Kennedy says, Jim, gonna need you to thumb the doom wheel so sly like tonight. Okay, well, yeah, maybe he can. Just kind of put his digital thumb on the wheel to slow it down. Robert Brancheski, great to have you here, sir. Evening junkies, he says. Robert, great to have you. I'm curious, are any of the Roberts, we have a number of Roberts in the chat now, and I think there's one Robert missing or not, hasn't chatted up yet. Any of you go by Bob, Bobby, Rob, Robbie, and anything like that? People, when I was growing up, hey, Flip Solo, great to have you here. I'm gearing up for Blade Show Texas in the morning. Oh, man. I wish I were going to be there to join you and meet you. People used to refuse to call me Bob because it was like Bob's an old man's name, and that generation just doesn't. So they'd call me Rob, and I'd say, no, Rob's a guy with a sailboat, and I don't have one of those. Shane, how's it going? Edgy American. Drop shut means absolutely nothing in all caps. Well, it depends. I was about to absolutely agree with you, but just like I really love the hydraulic feel of a Sabenza, or say this Mekong Delta combat folder. I love that gratifying feel. It can be gratifying to have something drop shut, but important, probably not. G Gleck says, hi, Bob, everyone. Well, it's good to have you here, G Gleck. Hey, I want to say, Shane, man, I watched that video this morning from last night. Shane did an unboxing of a knife I sent him, the fixed blade and the fixed blade Hogue Ritter. And man, it was such a good video. And part of that was because I had just woken up and I was, getting ready for the day. And he was saying all these nice things about me and Jim and the channel. And man, it made me put wind in my sails for the rest of the day. And I knew the rest of the day was going to be a bear. So man, that helped me more than you know, Shane. James Moore, happy Thursday, everyone. Well, happy Thursday to you, sir. It's great to have you here, classing up the joint. Cobalt, hello. Cobalt, hello to you, sir. I like the hood. Greg Maroney, what's up, y'all? Well, what's up with you, sir? Maroney, I knew him. Father Maroney was a priest at my church when I was a kid. Great guy. DM, hey Bob, good night. He says, well, good night to you, sir, and good evening, and please stay. Is that a lens that you're holding up in your avatar? You can learn a lot about people from their avatar. For instance, Drive Strength is a strong guy. I can tell from the dumbbell and the name, actually. We should all be exercising, I just want to say, in whatever capacity you can, whether it's a walk after dinner or I do my little thing in the morning at 5, because if I don't do it at 5, it doesn't get done. It just does not. I just cannot do anything exercise-wise in the day, except on Sundays when I go to my martial arts. Evening, Bob and Jim, he says, got a first watching Thursday Night Knives while opening a new knife. Oh, that's awesome. The Hogue Extract. Which one is that? Oh, I have sparkling water here, so if I belch, you'll have to excuse me. Apex Alchemy, thank you much, Mr. DeMarco, he says. Well, it is my great pleasure, sir. I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. Edwin says, yeah, bro, love it. Thanks. Oh, yeah, today, the Super CQC 50, Steve Ryan, that's right. And the Steve Ryan Gym model, wicked blade. That is wicked and beautiful. I love his knives. I love the look of them. They're always so tactical. And way back in the day, he had a CRK, no, not a CRK, a CRKT that looked a lot like a barong. This knife right here, this sword, and I loved it. And I can never remember the name, and it always went for way cheaper than I expected. FEMA Camp for Etiquette. I'm sorry, FEMA Camp Etiquette for Dummies. Good to have you here as always. And that name always makes me chuckle. Back in the day, I was very concerned and probably should be still about FEMA camps. How's your bracket? Mine's bad. Staying away from sharp objects tonight. That's funny because it's a totally foreign thing to me, and all this action swirls around at work, and people know at this point to leave me out of it. But yeah, my best buddy at work sits right next to me, and he handles the whole bracket for like not only our division but a bunch of other divisions. And so this time of year, people that I've never seen or I only see once a year creep up and give them cash. I'm not even sure if we're supposed to do it at work or allowed to, but I hope yours goes better. I kind of don't even know exactly what that means. I got to be honest. But I think it's a cool guy I work with. He's like, my just like gambling. I was like, that's awesome. That, it just makes you feel better about your weird hobby when you know someone else has a hobby that's equally as immersive. Except he stands to win money. I stand to lose. I know he stands to lose too, but he's got some guardrails. Apparently, that's probably what they all say. Robert Douglas, friends say Bob on occasion. All right, I approve, Bob. If I can count myself as one of those people who can call you Bob from now and again. Brandon Sutton, good to have you here, Brandon. The Mekong River has some giant, funky looking catfish. That's interesting, and not so much of a surprise to me, because you look at the animals in other countries, and they always look a little. I mean, they're all. That's cool, and for some reason, I would imagine the Mekong to have some big ass catfish. You look at the Amazon; they have fish that'll eat you alive. Like that. The piranha. There's just monsters on this world. On this planet, and we tell our kids, no such thing as monsters. I used to say, and I still do actually, half of it is reassuring. No such thing as monsters, except the ones who look and talk like princes. They're usually kind of monsters, meaning, don't be dazzled by handsome guys with silver tongues. They're usually the monsters of the world. They don't always have to be good looking, but my point is no monsters except men and women. But that's not exactly true because there's a lot of stuff that'll eat you and not think twice. Robert Brancheski says, I work with 4 other Bobs, so I got Robert and it's stuck. But from you, yeah, man, it's fine. All right, cool. Robert, yeah, Robert is what I go for when I'm trying to be more dignified, I guess, or I'm introducing myself. Sometimes I'll say Robert DeMarco. But you can call me the knife junkie, and then they look really weird at me. This old sword says, drop shut is strictly a fidget-related feature. Agreed. Making us feel some added value to a blade, but not needed for use, in my opinion. I will agree with you, Dave, on that. It is it's something that feels good. It's something, yeah, it's a fidget thing, and it's a niche thing. It's kind of like, if you learn I'm no fast draw, but I've seen people, fast draw their pistols, and then try and put it back really fast. And I'm like, is there ever a need to like put it back fast? Hey, you want to pull it out and pop it. DM says, yes, it is a lens. Okay, cool. Thank you. I should know that without having to ask, but yeah, no need to like reholster real quick. Just like probably no need for the drop shut, but it's cool. And if you're a gunslinger, flipping it around and putting it in your holster is cool too. Edgy American says, Bob, that live unboxing turned into a Raslin talk. That's my live stream in a nutshell. Oh, I love that. A Raslin talk. You like a Raslin? That's cool. I like Raslin. You got to know some, you know what? If you ever find yourself, well, you know what? Well, we can talk about that later. FEMA Camp Etiquette for Dummies says, does knife fidgeting count as exercise? Yeah, like a minor exercise. Just like this can be a minor exercise. Sort of, you do that 10 times, 3 sets of 10 on each side, and you've gained a little bit. Scott N, good to see you here, Scott. Evening all, he says. Evening, right back at you, sir. Good to have you. Drive Strength says, the Extract is a new fixed blade from Hogue with M4 steel thin blade. Interesting design. That's the, okay. It's small, right? I mean, I know it's thin. You just said it's thin, but it's kind of small overall, I think. It has kind of a harpoon clip point. Is that right? Or am I thinking of a new Benchmade? I can't tell. Can't remember. Apex Alchemy says, if I'm working with one hand, most of the time I am, I appreciate an easy closing knife. It doesn't have to be drop shut, but it helps if it's at least eager to close. That's a good way to put it, eager to close. And, you know, you might look at your 110 or your 112 and say, well, I can close this one hand. JN, what up? It's good to have you here, man. What up, Bob and Jim? He says, what up, y'all? This knife is easy to close one hand. You know, you do this and you put it on your leg and fold it or whatever. The one thing I don't like about closing these one-handed that I don't feel at all with cold steel triads is that you're way down at the end, gripping onto your buck. And, you know, if you're sitting at home or whatever, working around the yard, it's no big deal. But what if you're what if you're at the top of a monopole, you know, and you're 500 feet up there and you're like, I gotta just cut this like thing. And then you're like, you know, how do I close this? It's a little risky, but yeah, I see what you mean. Have a Knife Day says, I have sent on K-Bar. Wait. I had sent on K-Bar Dog's Head Red Spacer knife to get veft. Ooh. First of all, the K-Bar Dog's Head Red Spacer knife is a very special knife with a red with a red spacer right near the guard. And that thing is, we covered that on Thursday Night Knives and on the Wednesday supplemental months ago. And that is a beauty. And it's also a limited edition deal. And it's a historical rehashing, I think. Okay. Red Spacer to get veft. And now it's on the way home, hopefully by tomorrow. Then I'm going to send it and get a leather clad Kydex sheath. I like the way you spoil your knives, man. I mean, we're talking about a man, Have a Knife Day, who, you know, he gives some of his knives veft serrations, and he's got a guy for that. And he's got permission to do that from the man himself, Mr. Veff. I always want to say Jeff Veff, but I know that's not it. And then he gets these awesome Kydex sheaths clad in leather. Like, that's spoiling your knives. And I think that's cool. JN says, drop shut action is very important for executioners and their guillotines. Probably also diaper pails. Yes, the latter most definitely, because, you know, if it doesn't work so well with the guillotine, you'll have a guy like, but with a diaper pail, yeah, I remember those days. That's something I don't miss, I got to say. Though having babies is great and they're cute, but man, can they cause a stink. Jan says, I remember 1 pound curls. Yeah, exactly. The 1 pound curl, bubbly bounce, caffeinated sparkling water. I'm going hardcore tonight. Yes, if you would like to join the conversation, thenifejunkie.com/join will bring you here and we can talk face to face. I want to remind everyone that, the pre-order to the Nova 1 is still live. It goes till, oh, dear Lord, only another 15 days. And it's another 15 days or up to 50. And it looks like the 15-day thing is the threat, not the threat, but it's the that's more likely to be the end than the 50 at this point. But oh my gosh, I love this thing. But it's of my own design, at least partially. So I feel weird saying that this is gorgeous and beautiful. So I will say that Matt Chase's work is gorgeous and beautiful. And he really executed my drawing very well. If you want to see the handle color in true form, check out the video I posted today. It was a short, and it also went up on, I also put it up on Instagram because I was driving through a patch of sun in the parking lot at work. I had to stop and get out because it just caught my eye, and I love the color. So definitely check that out. All that being said, I think it's time for a pocket check. All right. Today in my front pocket, and Shane had a lot to do with this, not just in giving it to me and getting it to me, but in my putting it in my pocket today. Because this has been riding uh, in a place I haven't carried of a folder in a long time. And I know you're all thinking gross thoughts right now, but really it in the waistband up front, appendix carry. This has not left my side since I got it. I've been carrying it in one capacity or another. And today I was carrying it in the usual front right pocket. And so I had a big day today, and I was definitely on the spot, and I was, producing a live event, and people were all looking to me for answers. And for some reason, I felt like this knife would be the knife to give me strength. Sometimes I'll carry when I'm in that position, and I have a big day at work, and a lot of people are leaning on me, asking me questions, and basically the whole success of the thing is leaning on me. Sometimes I'll carry my old Emerson Commander because of Commander. I'm the commander today, or something spectacular. And today, this was what I needed to feel that way, and there it rode. And you can see while I opened many little packets of trail mix with this, it's pretty much. Oh, and I also opened up a package for a knife from someone sent me a knife today. You'll see that in the state of the collection. A great young 18-year-old knife maker made this cool thing, and I'll show that off in a little while. But anyway, today was the Manix 2 in S110V with this amazing edge that Shane put on it. I mean, it's got a really nice edge, and this sucker is just sharp as hell. And with with CPM S110V and my personal usage, I don't expect to have to ever even strop it, like to have to strop it. But I'm sure I will out of just pure joy of doing so. I'm really getting back into Spyderco, and this was what did it for me. This and the anticipation of the military too, which, damn it, when are they going to send it? I already saw it in the Smoky Mountain Knife Works paper catalog, which I love, and also I can't reach it, but Tops Knives does a great paper catalog too. I think we need to go back to that a little bit. But yeah, getting into that, and the fact that the Native Chief went lightweight, I'm into that. So yeah, this was front right pocket, riding shotgun, if you will. Next on me today, I had the Jack Wolf Knives Canine Jack. This is a sweetie, and I hadn't carried this one in a while. So now I'm do this thing, and it's what you can do when you're spoiled rotten like myself. I'm one of those guys that Ben Belkin has spoiled with these knives, and you know, I'm so appreciative of that because these things are amazing. Not only am I appreciative because they're amazing, because uh, but because it's just a fantastic thing to send to someone. So, and I know he gets something out of it too, but I get a lot out of it. Anyway, the point is, what I do, I have them all lined up, but they're all in their little leather cases, and I don't know which one is which. I do if I like count because they're in order, but I'll just kind of blindly stab. And my only and pick a Jack Wolf knife that way. I know, it's like it's a very privileged position, and I do appreciate it. But the only thing that will get me to reselect is if I'm already carrying something with a deep belly and I get this, then I would choose a Wharncliffe. But I don't know. I just chose this one today, and I went with it, even though almost everything else I have is bellied nicely. This did Apple duty, and I also posted a picture of this today while waiting on a machine. So I'm getting myself back into Instagram, and I mean I've never left. I love drooling over other people's knives and bass guitars and memes. By the way, Dirk Werning's memes are like, my God, he is a meme lord. I love his stuff. But besides knives, bass guitars, and memes, and also like Nature is Metal is an awesome account where you just see cool nature stuff, usually pretty hardcore. Anyway, waiting on a machine. I was eating an apple, and I cut it with that. It's unnecessary technically for me to cut the apple, though. A number of years ago, when I bashed out my teeth, I went to a discount dentist. I don't know. I couldn't afford it at the time, and they gave me some kind of whack front teeth, and I did dislodge one once with an apple. And so ever after that, I was like, well, dummy, you have a bunch of knives. You should do it with a knife. Now you're justified. You're not just trying to look like an old guy. Like, let me tell you what my daddy used to say. Now you're legitimately using that knife to cut the apple. So even if I eat the apple regular, I always cut into it first with a knife, and then I'll continue with my gurning because I'm an old dude. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so next up on me today, I had my Nova One. You've heard the pitch. I'll put it here. It is a beauty. But for emotional support today, knowing that the day would not allow me to wear the Nova One in my bed for a large, and then put this in the waistband, and this is the Cold Steel Frenzy. This was emotional support in that was unnecessary, but I kind of always like to have something unnecessary in my waistband. And so this did that duty. More than capable CTS XHP, vaguely hawk build. I guess that's hawk build. Shaped blade. I think of it like a Gnunting, but I know it was modeled after a helmet piercing knife that the samurai used to carry, or at least from ancient Japan. I'm not sure if the samurai carried it, but this is the 1, 2, or 3. I can't remember. I think it's the 2. And the only difference between the Frenzy 1, 2, and 3 is the G10 color. Blue, green, or like a light gray, I believe they had. This is such a cool knife, and I'm not even sure if they make this thing anymore, but it's so good. It's so good because it's 5.5 inches of blade length, and it is thin and very easy to stash in the waistband. It really did not. I was wearing khaki pants, so they weren't that tight, but never really aware of this. I did cut a large loaf of sourdough bread. We've been getting sourdough bread from Boudin's in San Francisco, the last remaining good thing in San Francisco. I'm just kidding to anyone who lives in San Francisco and is watching. But Boudin's sourdough bread is killer. My wife always used to complain that no one in the family likes sourdough, so she doesn't get any. I got a subscription to it for Christmas and have kind of fallen in love with it, at least with the best sourdough in the country, apparently. Like, that's what they say. But very, very good. And this was great for spanning the big loaf. Yes, that's right. This spanned the big loaf. And I got some side-eye Snickers from people at work, which, they know me at this point. And I'm like, what can you suggest a better knife in this kitchen to cut this large loaf with? How about that? We literally have a bread knife that has been used so much that there's no sign of the serrations anymore. And the cutting edge is like the spine, like literally. So I'm like, you want to try cutting it with that? Maybe I keep my sourdough to myself. All right. That's what I had on me today. I had the Spyderco. I had the Spyderco Mannix 2. I had the Cold Steel Frenzy 2, let's say. And I had the K9 Jack and the Nova 1. What were you carrying? Let me know. Let's talk about this. Let's talk knives. And as we do, we will gear up to this giveaway for this awesome knife. Dave says 3-blade carry today. The Best Tech Keen 2. That's a Cones Craft design. That's a beauty, man. That is a beauty. He's been showing that off the past couple of days. That is a folder that I'm excited about for sure. I've been more into fixed blades recently, and that is a folder that excites me, as is the new Terzawola custom knife factory knife. Ooh, yeah. Custom anode. Oh, custom anode by Morgan Cones, the designer. And man, you gotta follow him, Cones Craft, on Instagram, because he does these little batches. I know Dave has a number of his knives. He does these little batches. Like, he just did 4 little Bowie fighters that are just beautiful. He did them with the Ultim handles. Really, really gorgeous. Anyway, and purchased directly from him. Oh, that's nice. A really sweet Kaiser Clairvoyant. Highly recommended. Oh, yes, that's the Munko design. That's the new Munko design. And the Bastinelli Grumpy on the belt. Very nice. Dude, you carried the Grumpy on the belt. That takes some cojones. I love that, man. You're like, what? It's a scythe. Get to stepping. Blade Ogre says, carrying the Smith, and it's a very nice carry there, Dave. You don't need me to say that, but I'm jealous. Not envious, but jealous. Blade Ogre says, carrying the Smith & Sons Mudbug. That's a cool one. The MBK, the Monterey Bay Knives Slayback XL, also a cool one. All right, these are all cool. I'll get that out of the way. The M. Custa Katana. M. Custa is a company that you just don't hear much about. They're out of Japan, and they make some really cool looking knives. And I remember I first learned about them through Nut and Fancy. Bark River Ultralight Field Knife, the Tactile Dread Eye. That's a beauty. It's the new Matthew Christensen Tonto, fixed blade Tonto that Tactile's making. The Demco Free Rein fixed blade. The Baron Sons Slide Lock Cocobolo. Okay, I'm doing this so I remember to talk about that for a sec. The Kershaw Parley, don't know what that is. And the GEC 29. Now, I expect that the GEC Parley is a good, the Kershaw Parley is a good one if Blade Ogre's putting it in his panoply there. But the Baron Sons Slide Lock Cocobolo. Baron Sons is interesting to me. They're out of Alabama, and they make everything in America, and we don't hear much about them. They do fixed blades. They have a bunch of different fixed blades. Their Bowies have definitely turned my eye recently. And then they have a lot of different fixed blades and folders and automatics. And I do have one of their Bally songs, somewhat high value, we'll call it. Have a Knife Day says, I have my custom St. Patrick's Day Emerson Roadhouse ready for tomorrow. That's cool. He's Irish, and he celebrates and does a St. Patrick's Day, which is tomorrow, and also does a lotto for his special St. Patrick's Day knives. No pocket knife today, says Edgy American. Cooked. Oh yeah, I saw that. Oh my God, that looked good. Cooked Boston butts. So I cut them up with the Hogue Ritter Fixie. Yes, that is by far the most interesting thing that knife has done so far. I think I cut like paracord once and left some of my ashy skin in the G10. Hollywood Tactical says, a knife without dropping shut is like a TV without a remote control. It's so yesterday's tech. I love that. Yesterday's tech. Shane, those look delicious. And you did that in an air fryer. I was shocked. Air fryers, those things are magic. I love there's only one thing I ever cooked in there that I didn't like, and I don't even remember what it is, but I've done calzones in there. I do everything in there. And actually, before I get to Ned Knives' comment, I have to say, if you have a Satori, is that what it's called? Kosari air fryer, they've been recalled. They catch on fire. So we had to clip the cord, send a picture of it clipped, and send the batch number, and they're going to send us a new one. But some internal wiring on the Kosori air fryers cause fires. So now you know if you didn't know. And so get on their website, send in your Kosori, and get a new one. And don't let your house catch on fire. Ned Knives, good to have you here, Ned. Carried my United Kingdom pocket knife, the UKPK. That's the Spyderco all nations knife in LC200N. Excellent. And Benchmade Altitude fixed blade. Now, which one is that? I was just watching, let's see, we were late night spinning on the TV, and Denzel Washington, where he plays not the executioner. What is it? The enforcer. 2. It was the second one, and he fights the dude who plays Boba Fett, I think, and they're on the top of like a tower. And Boba Fett dude, I can't remember his name, I'm not big on actors so much, but he pulls out a Nimmervis, a Benchmade Nimmervis fixed blade, which you can't get anymore, and they fight with that. And oh man, he ends up Denzel ends up dispatching his foe in such a brutal manner with that knife. It's definitely worth a look-see for sure. Fill in all the blanks of the names I just totally messed up. The Enforcer, I'm pretty sure, is the name of the movie, part 2, but the guy who plays him, I think he's from Spain. Um, he's in that movie, The Last of Us, or that TV show, The Last of Us. Anyway, Scott N says, at a certain price point, drop shut is expected or appreciated. On a more regular knife, it can be a bit harder. Well, I'll do you one more, Scott, here, and I'll say, like, well, here's a $30 knife with some of the best drop shut action ever. This is the Night Horse by Beyond EDC, exclusive at Smoky Mountain Knife Works and designed by Dirk Pinkerton. I just love this knife. It is drop shut. Doesn't need to be, but it is, and I love it. But here's a knife that's expensive and premium, made by Best Tech, and the fact that it does not drop shut is it is a feature, not a bug, as far as I'm concerned. So I hear you to some extent, but it's not always expected, is what I mean. Sometimes you're going for a different kind of action. Hollywood Tacticals, and I know you understand what I mean and agree probably. Hollywood Tactical says, if a $15 Ganzo can drop shut, what excuse does your $100+ knife have for existing? Whew, man. That's that. Tom Veff, thank you. This will be a conversation we will have forever. Have a knife day. It's in my mind, Jeff Veff. Tom Veff. Tom Veff. Tom Veff. They say if you repeat something 3 times, it gets in there. Blade Banter, how's it going, sir? We have David with us, evening from Fort Worth, Texas. Oh, man. Now, why do you happen to be there, sir? Oh, man, that's awesome. Jealousy again. Jealousy rears its ugly green-eyed head. I hope it's awesome down there. I am getting all sorts of email from Blade shows, and I'm really psyched. Have a great show, says Blade Banter. Yes, indeed. Have a great show. That's what I should be saying instead of I'm jealous. Have a great show, Blade Banter. But yeah, I keep getting emails from Blade Show like, why aren't you coming to Texas? Still available. Come on. We still have tickets. And I'm like, can't. Mark Ridgewell, good to have you here, Mark. What's up, fellas? He says, well, what's up with you, sir? Good to have you. Piper, sweet Spyderco. Yes, I couldn't agree more. It is indeed a sweet Spyderco. And I like the dark blue a lot. I've said this a bunch of times now, but I do like how, I'm not going to show what this is, but it's small. I do like it better than the bright blues, though the bright blues can be cheery, and definitely on some knives, it works for sure. Will B says, had the Grimsmo Norseman, the Protec, nice, of course, the Protec California Custom Knife Show Mordax, the Spyderco Manix 2XL, awesome, Benchmade Rift, Civivi Chevalier, I just like saying that, the Spyderco Ronin 2 custom sheath sporting a new discreet carry clip. That sounds like the perfect setup, man. Perfect setup for that. And the Riot Exo, it's the old one. I asked you that last week. Shane, I liked your meme. This is me not worrying about getting an Exo. That was funny. I saw that a couple days ago when you posted it. That was pretty funny because I kind of feel the same way. But if they had maintained the full size Exo, but gave it the clip and the lock, I would be sweating a little bit. But they did shrink it down a little bit, and that's my out. That's my off ramp. JN says, Will B carries some people's whole grail list. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. That is true. Jay McConnell says, drop shut is nice, but only if there's a bias towards closed. I hate when blades bounce back open. Yes. Safe, convenient one-handed closing is a requirement, not drop shut action. I agree with you. I hate the bounce back, and I get it on these knives. Say this, the Mad Tonto. Not so much with the Mad Tonto, but more with other button locks like this one, definitely the Sencut Watuwaga. This one bounces back, and I think it's because I can't let go of the button quick enough because the button is too damn. You got to push it. You got to plunge it in too hard, too far in. So I think I've been kind of. I haven't actually actively thought of this, but in my mind, I have conceived of gluing some sort of a nubbin on top of this and making it a um, slightly taller button. Because this is a keeper to me. This is a really nice knife, especially for the, I don't know, 40, $50 I paid for it. This thing is really nice. But yeah, that does stick in my craw just a tad bit. The way you got to push it in so hard. Never Enough Knives 007 says, today I carried my Cold Steel Formax Scout. Very nice knife. I thought I pulled that out tonight. Bark River Bravo EDC, the Swiss Army Knife Huntsman, and I used my Cold Steel Marine NCO sword to murder some bottles in the yard. Nice. I was like, oh, what did you use that for? And that's a good answer. I think this sword here, which is from the Dutch Navy, but it's a sword that is based on the last American cutlass in service, which I believe 1917 is the thing, the date, and also the model number, I think, and it's got a Kluang. I think it's called a Kluang. Anyway, it's related to that sword. FEMA Camp Etiquette for Dummies says, while putting fresh sheets on the bed last night, my wife asked me if the small holes in the sheets were from me flipping knives in bed. No, they're from no, that's what happened. It's too much bleach. You could kind of, I'm not sure who does the laundry, the shared laundry. I do my laundry, my wife does her laundry, but she ends up doing the shared laundry, like the sheets, because that's kind of something I forget about, don't think about. But you put too much bleach in it and it puts holes. I do know that. So you can kind of blame it on her. Oh, I pointed to my overgrown big toenails and she just kept flipping my hinderer. I like your style, FEMA Camp. I like your style. Edgy American says, Bob color coordinating his shirt with his Spyderco, my kind of guy. Actually, closer to the truth than you may know, except I wasn't coordinating with this. I was coordinating with my other shirt that I wore today for work. So not too far off there. Scott N says, even carrying my Formax Scout, I feel drastically underknifed around you folks. No, sir. No, sir. You are not underknifed. Certainly not with that knife. And who among us carries all? I mean, I have a big table full of knives here. I'm sure you all do too, to one regard or another, or in one extent or another. But you got to remember that Blade Ogre, this is his regular carry. And I hear that Blade Ogre is a pretty big guy. So, the bigger the guy, the more knives you can carry. And I think he said he was moving to overalls. So that means more pockets and built-in suspenders. I think he was probably joking, but if not, I love overalls. Actually, I haven't had a pair in a long time. I should probably get a pair and see how many knives I can hold. Blade Banter says Dirk does a great job for sure. Oh my God. Well, I mean, he's a great guy. Amazing knife collection and beautiful pictures of his knives and watches. But his memes, man, I don't know where he gets them from, but he gets them and he just gets the best and he keeps them coming hard, like over and over and over. I'm going to change the subject now. Mark Ridgewell says ZT0562 Tie and Sea Snake. That's a nice combo. That is a nice combo. I love I love both of those. Jay McConnell says FEMA Camp and laughs. I just sewed up a cut in my daughter's comforter that I blamed on the cat. That cat. You got to give that cat a little snack on the side, a little tuna thing or something, because it's taking the fall for you and can't really defend itself. James Moore says, pocket check, the Gava Flipper frame lock from the great BRR Knives / Raphael Brzeski with beautiful, thin, hand-rubbed 3.3-inch M390 blade and blue titanium scales. Yeah, this one is beautiful. He's been posting this a lot. IYKYK. I don't know. I don't know. Is that like LOL? Is that what does that mean? Tell me what IYKYK means. Nikki D. Sear says, carrying the S35 Sea Snake, the Chavez Redemption 2.29, or what? The Chavez Redemption 229, the small Nkosi, and the best tectonic. Oh, that tonic. I want the tonic. That's the Colin Maison Pierre design with the really cool innovation on the backlock ball bearing, running against the tang, so it's a nice smooth drop. That's probably most definitely a drop shut backlock. I want it. I want that. I want that. Blackfoot Man says, carrying the Spartan Ronin Shinto in S45 VN. Oh man, I love Spartan knives. The Ronin Shinto. I thought I knew which one that is, and I'm trying to think of what is that one of the ones that. Tell me about that knife. Give me a little bit, because I can't just go look it up. And by the way, Spartan blades, I'm looking for that Les George dagger that they just came out with. Not the George Spartan dagger, but the newer one, the Raider dagger. I gotta get that. And every time I go look, it's sold out. And I know they drop and they get sold out very quickly. But I ask of you, if you could keep me, any of you out there who might be more adept at, keeping up with the drops, to let me know if you see one popping around. JN says, the newest thing in my pockets is the 20 CV Penguin Plus, very slicey and useful. That was the knife we gave away last month for the Gentleman Junkie. Byron Kennedy says, Carrie was the Petrified Fish 818, off-grid all-day necker, Rosecraft Applejack, issuing stitches hang. Oh, nice. Special Hanks. I probably need to get a special Hank. Petrified Fish 818, not sure which one that is. And for some reason, that reminded me of the video of the two Russian Su-27s dumping gas all over one of our drones. I don't know why that reminded me. I guess 818 looks kind of like a military designation of some sort. Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure which one that is, but I do know from my Petrified Fish Victor that they make stellar knives. I think their knives are really nice and so inexpensive. At least they were initially. Oh, interesting. Kep McNessart has, excuse me, today I'm carrying the Tops Woodcraft. Is that the one based on the Marbles Woodcraft? That looks like a great knife. And I just started watching a Gideon's Tactical video on that. The Malone Knives Wingman, very nice. The Giant Mouse Atelier, very nice. That's a brand new one. The Buck Cadet, I like the Cadet also. That's a little one. And the Wingard Wearables Micro Dick Pic. Now, did you see the Mega Dick Pic? This big, oh my God, it was like about this big. And I think, and it had a twist in it, a couple of twists. I don't think they're selling that. I think that's just his, but I got to get one of those. I do have to get a dick pic to go along with my quill. Now, these tomahawks by them are awesome. This one lives on my desk. This is my desk tomahawk. We all have a desk tomahawk. Well, that's mine. JN says it was 61 degrees 8 hours ago. Now it's snowing. Yeah. I was out. I don't know if it's snowing here. And I think it stayed warm, but yeah, it was freezing this morning, got warm during the day. It's nuts, man. Well, JN, stay warm in there, light a fire, and cozy up to your knives. Cobalt says, on me today, MSC, SJ75 full stealth. That is a big knife. That's a cool knife. Why is it evading my, I was going to say those words out. Mick Strider Custom SJ75. Beautiful knife. Full stealth meaning all black, I'm assuming. That's a nicer way of saying murdered out, right? Is that right? The Spyderco Harpy, great little S-curve knife that is not one to underestimate. the Mad Dog Voodoo Hound. I'm not sure what that one is. I'm out of town now. So yeah, I carry that thing. What is that? The Mad Dog Voodoo Hound. That sounds cool. Well, nice carry, and be safe while you're out of town. Dion Page. Hello, Dion. Good to have you here, man. Hello, Emperor Alpha Junkie, Jim and Junkies all. SRK, a Swiss Army knife. Wait, no, SRK. Steingraber. Wait, SRK 3V SAC Evo. Okay, Swiss Army knife and an Evo, but the SRK 3V. Oh, Cold Steel SRK. Survival rescue knife. Ryan Walker, good to have you here, Ryan. Ryan Walker got stuff. I got the Work Tough Gear Amish John and the Raja 2. Okay, all right, I got to do this. I'm so anxious to show this. I'm not going to wait till State of the Collection. Flip Solo says Deep Space Rock Wall tomorrow. I love what Tactile Knife Company is doing with the rock wall. Handle up on the Grumpy with Kydex and Tech Lock. Carries very discreetly. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Like a tomahawk, you can ride it up with the sheath on your belt and the handle up, and it fits under your arm. Put your jacket on, you're good to go. Hero Sticks, evening and cheers all. Thursday Night Knives is always a weekly highlight. Carried the Hunter Knives dressed up, EDC Fixie and Cocobolo, and the Finch Drifter to match. I dug out my Finch, not the Drifter, but I've got the Drifter in the wood, and it looks beautiful too. This one's the Cocobolo, not Hog's Tooth. What do they call that? Buffalo Tooth. So he mentioned Work Tough Gear. I got to pull out my Puzon Predator Hunter. I'm going to put it down here so I don't accidentally sever anything. This thing is truly a beast. When people use the term beast for a folder, yeah, it can be a beast of a folder, but this is just straight up a beast of a knife. I brought this to my martial arts buddies to check out. That's like part of my Sunday ritual. They know I'm going to bring a knife for everyone to check out. And I brought this one. It's only like four or five of us, and or six or so. And they all have their own special. One guy carries a Winkler in his front pocket. It's a knife crowd. And they're all like, whoa, like, ugh. Like I almost didn't know what to do with it. Like, and we did determine, well, I've determined this a while ago, that it's definitely too heavy for a fighting knife. That's not saying that you couldn't swing it around to great effect or use it to harm someone, but you want something for a fighting knife. You want something that's a little bit smaller and light and lively in hand, so you can change directions and stuff. That one, it's like more like swinging a battle axe, changing direction and recovering from a swing takes a little bit more than, just an easy does it, or a small, thin, light knife. But you look at this thing. Look at this thing. Now, I'm guessing that the Predator moniker has to do with this area here. The swedge reminds me a little bit of the big knife that everyone on Arnold Schwarzenegger's team in the Predator had. They all had two knives. It took me many viewings to notice that they all have it. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger has it. He uses it to cut the drive belt, or the belt on the motor that's on the truck that's running the generator of the camp that they invade in the beginning when they're trying to save that guy, trying to save some captives. And then it ends up that actually they're just there to get information. But he uses it, and he has this strapped to his leg. If you've missed it, watch it. He pulls it out, and he slashes the belt, pushes the truck, and then the truck runs in with explosive and blows up and starts that whole shootout, that whole camp raid. But they all have one of these, and it's the one that Billy, carves his chest. Man, I love that movie. In all of these years, I've never tired of that movie. And now, all of the Rambo movies, man, just watching them again over and over, they're so great. They're so great. I miss those kind of movies, and I miss those characters. What about John Matrix from Commando? They only ever did one. You know, like we need those characters back. Big manly men doing manly things and having big manly knives. Like we got John Wick, and I love John Wick. Thank you for John Wick. I can't wait for John Wick 4. I don't care how ridiculous they get. I am in 100%. JN says, I've got some yard work, woods work to do this weekend. I might have a Work Tough Gear JXV coming tomorrow. That's cool. That's the one designed by Prepared Mind 101. His name escapes me, but you know that's par for the course. But that's only really when I'm sitting here in front of a microphone. Like I'm pretty good with recall most of the time. So what is his name? Well, I'm not going to try and figure it out. You can tell me right here, but JX5 Work Tough Gear. That's a cool one. It's a big clip point with a long handle, and that looks like it's going to be outstanding for for work, as this would be if I did that kind of work. I am going to take this into our local bamboo forest and do some chopping, see how that does. Jay McConnell says, busted out the St. Patty's Day carry early today. Compound Ground Crine TK11. Dude, I just have a feeling Jay McConnell has just a killer collection. Warney with green jigged bone. That sounds awesome. And Redliners and a GEC 88 Bayou Trapper in green jig bone. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to carry my GEC improved Trapper in green. It's like a really bright green jig bone, and I can't remember the number of the improved Trapper, but you're giving me a great idea. That's what I'm going to carry. FEMA Camp Etiquette for Dummies says, my carry today, TRM Shadow and some tots. What are the tots? My mind goes to taters right away, but I know that's not what it is. And the TRM Shadow, so cool. I'd love to have that one, especially in the full tie. Blade Ogre says the Kershaw Parley is a cleaver sheep's foot. Oh, interesting. Cleaver sheep's foot slip joint. The Baron Sons is like a big farmhand with an access lock. Oh, okay. Both bought at Buc-ee's in Texas this week. That's cool. Yeah, I got a place you can just stroll in and get cool. Equalizer. Thank you. What was I saying? Execution. I wasn't saying that. I was saying the Enforcer. The Equalizer. Yeah, that's a good movie. Both of them. But I especially like the way he kills Boba Fett. Let's see. Temuera Morrison, Boba Fett looked it up. Oh, okay. Okay, so in that show, my wife has corrected me. In that show, it's not Boba Fett. He's like some sort of Fett or some sort of relative of Boba Fett. He's the Spanish dude. We all know him, but none of us can remember his name. Flip Solo. I'm in Austin driving to Dallas Fort Worth early. Man, I got to go to Texas. I haven't been there in years and years and years. And when I wasn't like doing Texas. I was basically driving through it. I do have to go and do Texas for sure. I'm sorry. Can you go back to Mark Ridgewell? Thank you. Damn, Bob is behind worse than Lefty. Behind. Okay. I believe it. I don't know what you mean, but I'm sure I am behind in so many ways. JN says, if you repeat something 3 times, it gets in there. Yep, I agree. If you repeat something 3 times, it gets in there. And if you repeat something 3 times, it gets in there. Let's see if I can remember that. Mark says, isn't a Benchmade a locking gravity knife, sort of? You could say so, or a police officer could say so. Let's see. I do not have an axis lock. Oh, excuse me. But this can be, you know what I mean? You just give it a little, look, that's a gravity knife. And then you're in jail. He said it, stick in my craw. Oh, yes. You know where I got that, Shane? Stick in my craw. I got that from Jared was a race car driver, by Primus. Stuck in his craw that they made him retire at the age of 65. Or, yeah. Richmond engine number 3. I'd be a wealthy man. Yeah. So stick in his craw. I got that from Primus, a Primus song. And I love it. It's folksy. I like folksy sayings. I like sayings in general and finding out where they come from. It sticks in my craw when I can't figure it out. Jahan says, I have always said that I prefer to be more involved when my knife is closing, being deliberate, warding off chaos. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Involved. I'm involved in this. I'm not just letting it happen. Blade Ogre says, Bear & Sons knives are hit and miss. I figured they might be. Some are good and some not so much. Normally good prices, though. I have a feeling that they have a great Western Bowie. I think that their Western Bowies are good. Blade Ogre, yes, I did buy overalls a week or two ago. All right, so now the count is going to grow because it can. There are a lot of surfaces on overalls to clip things to, and they hold up the weight. Jan, if you know, you know. No doubt. All right, so ENG, EDC, good to have you here, ENG. Hey, fellow knife junkies, I'm carrying my newly acquired, just today, a custom knife factory Eagle Rock. Now, is this the Terzuola I was just talking about with zirconium bolsters and the Riot K2? I got my K2 out with purple haze, fat carbon, knife joker exclusive. Nice. Mine's an old school bronze I think it looks like kind of like a dragon. I love this knife. This knife will never, well, I will never get rid of this knife on purpose. I think it's the most beautiful and useful Tanto out there. I just love it. Boba Fettuccine. Hey, knife junkie. I like that trench knife hanging on your wall. Wish I had something like that. Well, it's only because I have a really, really awesome brother who also is a fan of history, especially World War II. But he and I have been lusting over this knife ever since we were kids. We had a book of weapons, and this was in it. And he recently, well, it was like 2 years ago, got this for me. And one of the many things that I love about this, there are a couple of different knuckle dusters. They're generally the same shape, but some of them aren't as pointy. I do like that, the 1918 trench knife. But what I really love about it is that, unlike, say, my McNeese knives knuckle dusters, or even my Station 9 knuckle dusters, the fingers are perfectly spaced for my medium-sized hands here. There is no, I mean, I could punch a brick wall and there would be no pain or tension between the fingers because they're spread out a little bit too much. Like with this one, it's just spread out a little bit too much. Also, this flat piece down here is just murder on the palm. Though I don't think that these are necessarily for use. I think they're kind of more novelty. I love them, and McNeese is a great guy, and I'm glad I have these. But I would way rather punch with my fist or just open hand than use that. But this, on the other hand, man, I could punch all day with this, and then you can do other stuff with it. But thank you for noticing, and thank you to my brother for, man, he's given me so many cool things. If I can ever even get him back by half, I'd be ahead. Piper says, carrying the Spyderco PM2 in 15V. Nice. We've been hearing a lot of people with that, and people lamenting the fact that they're gonna probably miss the drop. Or I'll put this up later. Probably miss the drop, and that it'll sell out lickety split like in seconds. Piper says, carrying the Spyderco PM2 and 15V, and the Devo Growler, awesome, and the Ohio Riverjack Warncliffe slip joint. Why do I not have one of those yet? Why? It's called the Ohio River. I should have one. Ket McNessard says, yes, the Tops Woodcraft is based on the Marbles Woodcraft, just topsified. I have an old, I don't think it's a Marbles, but it was from my grandpa. Yeah, right here. And this is like a Woodcraft. I don't think it's Marbles. This is, Gene Cass Cutco, Little Valley, New York. But it's kind of the very, very similar design. That's not my sharpening job. I guess my grandpa did that. But wicked sharp. He once told me that he skinned a bear with this, but in my mind, I thought he killed the bear with this. And I was like, yeah, look at it. It looks like a cutlass. You could kill a bear with that. I love this thing. Grandpa was an awesome, awesome dude. Here's the scabbard. Check this out. Here, I'll put this under here. He carved on it Tinurelli, and then Catskill Mountains, Tannersville. That's where my mom was born. 1937. I love that. And this thing is he had great handwriting too. But this sheath is like so on the edge, being leather. Old leather. Kevin Moore says, "Evening, you junky animals." Good to have you here, Kevin. Hoping your blades are sharp and pointy. Indeed, they are. And I hope that your shirt is more interesting than mine. I know it is, because Friday is right around the corner, and that, of course, is Hawaiian Shirt Friday. So, thanks for coming, Kevin. Good to have you here. Brandon Sutton says, "It's a shame that Almar does not decide to collaborate with Topps anymore." I know. Their Almar model was great. Kicking myself in the ass for not getting one. Hey, you're preaching to the choir. I feel the same way. And I didn't know that they just stopped. I didn't know that they stopped, partnership or whatever. But like the way I see it is Almar Knives took a real bad turn when Almar passed away. I think they make a lot of cheap crap now, or I shouldn't call it crap. I actually should not call it crap, but I think they've not kept up. They've not kept up, and probably they've backslided a bit. And they do need those kind of collaborations. They do, because they're not doing that stuff themselves. And that knife sold like gangbusters, I'm pretty sure. And I'm kicking myself too. I would have gotten it with the top sharpened. You know how it's a bayonet grind? I would have gotten that top, half of the blade sharpened. Such a cool knife. And old Almar stuff is awesome. Boba Fettuccine says, "That's not a knife. That is a short sword." Okay, well, let me show you this. Here, it is very similar in size to the Natchez Bowie. Very similar in size, but I got to say, there's just a different impact. Even though, let's see, the Natchez is thicker. It's a thicker Bowie, a thicker blade steel. But look at how broad and long, how broad this thing is and how long the grind is. It's really slicey. I had a paper towel roll in here this morning, put it on the corner of the desk, as I do. Barely put any effort into it, and this thing just cleaved it several times. I hit it real high up and knocked a corner off without even knocking the paper towel roll off the desk. Descentian 01, new avatar. Hit that like, he says. I like that avatar. That's pretty badass. It looks like something that would come out at you in a Steven Spielberg movie. People always think, oh, Steven Spielberg, he's not such a nice, sweet guy. But you want to see someone dismembered or, mulched up or exploded or dying in otherwise violent way, or see their rotting corpse, just tune into a Spielberg movie. You'll see that. Brandon Sutton, love the Predator films. Oh my God, me too. But I mean, nothing comes even remotely close to the first one. Though I do like the one Predators, where they find themselves on the hunting planet. That's pretty cool. John Wick is ridiculous, but at least they get expert training. Yeah, no doubt. But is it ridiculous? Is it really? I don't think so. I think it's awesome. I love John Wick. And I guess I've always liked the strong, silent type heroes, and he's kind of like that. But he's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger size. I was just watching the very last Rambo movie, Last Blood, which I love. I mean, I love them all, especially the first one. The first two and the last two are great, which I think is the lion's share of. I love them all. They're all awesome. But the last two, man, he gets it. It's so right. And he is just 75 years old or whatever he is, and jacked in that. And to me, that's a little unrelatable. Whereas John Wick is relatable because, he's just a regular dude. And that's very close to life, the way that movie is. Blade Ogre says JV JXV or JX5 have that one. My best big work knife. Oh, cool. So yeah, the Work Tough gear, man. It's got its hooks in me now. We got to give this thing away. We're gonna give this knife away in 4.5 minutes, right on the 11:15 time. Let's see. Hero Stick says it moves like the jungle. Get back to the chopper. Honestly, that opening scene in Predator when they are dropping in the Long Tall Sally was playing. Oh, dropping in Long Tall Sally was playing. Blew my mind as a kid. Yeah, yeah. I always love the scene where they're where um, now this guy legitimately I can never remember his name, but he's brilliant. The African American actor who he it turns out, man, well, first of all, he was in Commando, bad guy in Commando, so good. Um, but that gentleman is a gentleman. I've seen him interviewed, and he like did so much for black actors and theater, and he's a really interesting guy. And he's such a menacing dude in the movies, and then when you see him interviewed, he's like he just seems like a really nice guy next door. But I loved when they're kind of hold out, and this is after his best buddy is killed, and he's shaving. You know, he's always kind of shaving when he's out there, and he breaks it against his cheek. And I don't know, that movie, everything about it. Over here, over here. Hero Sticks. That movie captivated me. Never watched any of the sequels because, well, the original was that good. Agreed. That they all really do pale in comparison. And the second one that takes place in Los Angeles is kind of bad with Danny Glover. And I'm sorry to say that to the aficionados and fans of all the Predator movies, but that one, yeah. Byron Kennedy says, yes, the movies just ain't the same when the hero pulls out his tadpole to vanquish the foe. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, you know, and you know, I like man's men kind of movies, you know. The Expendables. That's a good series. A little tongue in cheek, and that's good, you know. Those movies are awesome. The Expendables. Man, yeah. I like the vitality. I also like old man strength. I like seeing older guys kicking ass. What can I say? Who doesn't? Who's an old man? Blade Banter says, this is the first time I've ever been to Texas. How do you like it? Steve O. Taylor, good to have you here, Steve O. Good day from Australia. Well, good day to you, sir. I'm not sure if you were here for this, but look at this. It is a good day. It is a good day. And no, I am not going to quote a famous person from your nation upon wielding a big knife. That talk about sticking my craw, Shane. That really bugs me. But hey, it's hard to avoid. So, Mad Dog Voodoo Hound is a 7-inch double-edged combat knife. How did I miss this? That sounds awesome. That's right up my alley. I love the classic 7-inch combat classic style, like the K-bar and like the and the Randalls and all of those. So this kind of sounds like it's in the tradition of, but a new version. Happy Haptics EDC, good to have you here. What up, you filthy animals? Had an extremely underrated concept mini cryo on me with the pouch and goodies while out for dinner. Clean, simple, and useful. Just how I like it. Very nice. So far, you cannot go wrong with a concept unless you just don't like the design. There are a couple of designs from them that I'm not crazy about, but I love their stuff. Shoot, man, for the money, my Buck Knife 684 Bucklight Max 2 is a blade everyone should look at. $25 plus tax. Ooh, that sounds awesome. And their 420 HC is awesome. I meant to pull out, but did not. My 119. I love that fixed blade. And Tomas Alas of Tactical Tavern has been showing off his recently. Made a couple of videos, and yeah, got me thinking about that knife again. I do love it. Okay, it's time to give away the knife. Hero Stick says, "Hey, anyone own or handle the Spider Coast Spy Opera?" That's the one that's the collaboration with Lion Steel. I've been eyeing it for like 2 years and found one on NAF sale for $70. That is a tremendous buy. Just get it. Just get it. That is a good buy, and I don't even have the knife, but I know that that's a good buy for $70, because that was an expensive one when it came out. It looks a little bit like the something something 11 from them. That was helpful information. But yeah, I'd go for that. $70. Razorback says, first of all, hey Razorback, great to have you here as always. Also from down under. First Rambo was epic. Yeah, I was telling my daughters the story of both John Wick and First Blood. Rambo First Blood, or just First Blood, I guess is what it's called. Still reckon that's one of the best chase scenes ever filmed. No CGI, no backflips through choppers, just big open shots of a guy on a bike. Yeah, tackling various landscapes. Ooh, that's good. Yeah, I forgot about that scene. That is a great, great movie. And speaking of, we were speaking of John Wick. Keanu Reeves is a smart guy. He's a sleeper. He's one of those people that you might think isn't that smart just because of the roles he's played and kind of how quiet he remains. But that's part of why he's smart. But also, he does not allow any digital editing of his movies, which I think I mentioned last time. I can't imagine cutting one of those movies, one of those fight scenes without digital. So I'm wondering if if what I read meant to say digital augmentation, like digital special effects as opposed to practical special effects. Boba Fettuccine, Red Heat, classic Schwarzenegger. I just saw recently Raw Deal was on, and I saw a couple of minutes of that. You should not cook and bake. That's a great, great movie, Raw Deal. But Red Heat. I know it has to do with Russia. I can't remember that one. I think I need to brush up on some of my 80s films, especially that. And I haven't seen Commando in a long time, and that was such a good movie. And that movie's got a great soundtrack. If you can remember, is a lot of steel drum. Well, I'm not even going to try and imitate it. I can hear it in my mind. And it is a really great movie, Commando. We all know that, but the soundtrack is awesome, and it kind of plays throughout. And I also love the scene where he kills the dude who is on the airplane escorting him down, where he's like goes down to tie his shoe and he elbows him and then breaks his neck and then puts the hat on him. And don't wake my friend, he's dead tired. I love that. That's good writing. Brandon Sutton says the first Expendables, when Terry Crews was shooting the automatic that automatic shotgun in the corridor, looked and sounded so awesome in theaters. Yeah. Hero Sticks, the African American guy in Predator was Kevin Peter Hall. Badass. He was also the lead detective in Boys in the Hood. That's right. To Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba Gooding Jr. You done fucked up now. Brilliant. Yeah, and he's got a cool voice. And in Commando, he was so bad. Don't worry. In the very beginning where they're showing John Matrix's whole squad getting taken out by the bad guys, and the one dude comes out with the garbage cans. Oh, I thought you would miss me. And he gets Peter Hall gets the Mac 10 out of the garbage truck. Don't worry, we won't. And he just blasts the dude. But I like the way he was so casual. Don't worry, we won't. Scott N says, I still want one of the SOG Super Bowies just because it's so insane. Yes, I have the SOG Super Bowie. It's a 7-inch SOG, MacV SOG by SOG, and it's awesome. It is awesome. There's always one little thing that I don't like about it, and on it, this was a foreshadowing of things to come for SOG. The one little thing on that knife I don't like on mine, and I wish I had pulled it out tonight, but there's a little picture of a blade with a bullet splitting as it passes over passes over the edge. That was a gimmick they did to test and show how awesome their knives were in the late 90s, was shoot a gun at the edge. and see the bullet split. And they made a little tiny graphic for that and put it on the Ricasso. Kind of a misstep if you ask me, but definitely not a deal breaker. You can barely see it, and I've almost forgotten about it. Brandon Sutton says, Keanu seems to be a very humble person. I know he had some tragic moments in life. Oof, I don't know about those. I'm sorry to hear that. B for Baron, good to have you here, sir. Hey, brother man. Well, hey to you and your awesome looking dog too. I like that picture. All right. Oh, yeah. Check this out. Knife related shirts and merchandise. Go to the knifejunkie.com/shop. And Jim is making a lot of cool different designs. And he did one today that he sent to me. And I thought that's one to take on vacation. Knife vibes. It's very cool. And it's got it's not so threatening, but then you read it and you're like, oh, it says knife vibes. Yeah, there you go. Knife vibes. On a hoodie. That looks good on a hoodie, man. And purple for the ladies or the men. I love purple. Maybe not that lavender for me, but deep royal purple I prefer. Throw knives because darts are too mainstream. Yes. I haven't even seen that one, Jim. I love it. Throw knives because darts are way too mainstream. How right you are. I was just outside taking out the garbage, and I have mangled my target to the point where I have to just throw it out and get a new one. The good news is my 12-year-old daughter is getting pretty good at throwing knives, and my younger one too. She's got to stand real close, and I'm kind of nervous about the rebound. I make them wear glasses when they do it. But yeah, my older daughter's getting pretty good at no spin, chunk, chunk, and let's face it, no spin. That's the real combat throw. Within 10 feet of someone. All right, so here we go. This is the Vosteed Bellamy. I'm just going to go over this one more time. This is what made me think of how important it is for drop shuttiness, because this one, is extremely drop shutty, and I just appreciate that a lot. You can open it up 3 different ways. Well, I guess 4. You could always open it up like this, but you'd be the uncoolest kid on the block if you open this up with 2 hands. You can, of course, flip it with that great low profile flipper. I love that. It's the flipper is jimped all around. And then you have really great jimping for your thumb here, but also for the front flipping opening mechanism. And then you have the groove, the fuller, if you will. Some people call it a blood groove, but those people are wrong. It is not a blood groove. It's a fuller. Blood groove, as if the blood is going to just, when you stab this into someone, the blood is going to, I think we go out that way. Let's go out that way, and then we'll just drip out the side. Yeah, that's not how it works. Carbon fiber, M390, deep carry pocket clip, not inset, but flat screws. Carries very nicely. I have carried this a handful of times. I may have cut something, but not even cardboard, because there'd be some evidence. This thing is a beauty, and I have committed to let it go. So I'm going to let it go right now. Who wants this Vosteed Bellamy? Who among the Gentleman Junkies will win this Vosteed Bellamy? Just a note to everyone who's not a Gentleman Junkie. Next week, we will do just a random giveaway of something cool, just for fun. Okay, let's do this. In 3, 2, and 1. Where it stops, nobody knows. Byron asked Jim to put his thumb on it. Let's see if... Oh, so close, Byron. Ben Belkin. This is your knife now, Ben. This will be going off to Ben Belkin for his carry. I hope he carries it. I hope he loves it. I hope it serves him well for many, many years to come. He has done me plenty of solids, not only in being a patron, but in sending me so many amazing knives. So this is going to him. And I thank you, Ben Belkin. I thank you all for participating. Byron, he just did not put his finger on hard enough. Next time, maybe he'll have that in order. I want to show you a couple of other great knives that I got this past week, and one today, one a couple of days ago, and one a few days before that. And they were all given to me, sent to me by the maker slash manufacturer. And this first one is from T-Kel Knives. Now, if Dave is still with us, he's got a couple of T-Kel knives, and I know he's talked with Tim Kell. He's a very, very cool guy. I've talked to him on the phone a couple of times, and I've enjoyed it. He's going to come on the show, and we'll continue the conversation. He's a real salt of the earth Marine, and he makes some killer knives. Now, a lot of them are bent towards self-defense, and then some of them are combat knives straight up, and then maybe one or two is like combat or camping, but mostly combat, utility, and self-defense. Jared Neve has also been championing this guy's work. Now, this one here is a hybrid. It's not a hybrid. I shouldn't call it that. But he sent me. I ordered this with the purple and black handle scales, and he calls this Black Hawk. I really love the combination of the purple and the black, but he also sent along a different scale package that includes a ring that comes from one side, and you can tacticalize it and karambitize it. And so I just put this on today to check it out, and here it is. Great Kydex sheath, by the way. But look at this thing. Now, if you follow Dave's channel, you've seen this before, but this one is mine. And I just have half of the purple side that I like, and then this, and look at that. It's a triple-edged Warncliffe. And it's interesting. I remember looking at this and saying, look at how short that grind is from here to the edge. It's like, how are you going to cut with that? Look at that. Oh man, it's thick, and it comes to a diamond tip. It's wicked. It beautifully ground too, I gotta say. Really nicely done. Look at that. But just yesterday or 2 days ago, maybe, I was on Instagram. Oh yeah, he put my logo on there. How cool is that? I was on Instagram, and he had a number of different knives in this genre, and this was one of them. And he said, these are not for shaving arm hair, and these are not for cutting paper. These, by the way, these do cut paper very nicely. Haven't checked the shaving arm hair. I'm sure it would do that too. But these are meant to put big holes in bad people quickly. And I thought, wow, I like the way he put that, because, we've gone from the overbuilt thing, at least with folders, to very thin and slicey blades, and by all accounts, that's a great way to go, because thin and slicey makes for a great cutter and slicer. But the value of this is in its weaponness. This is a sharpened pry bar, if you will, and I don't mean to belittle the design to just a pry bar, but it has that feel. It's got a stout feel, and it is thick all the way to the tip. This is not going to break on anything, but it will make big, nasty holes in bad people. And sometimes it's worth not mincing words, and especially about something serious like this. Now, if you push this into a fleshy target, nice whistles softly. If you push this into a fleshy target, it's going to make a very, as you push it in, that's just going to widen. And the fact that top edge is sharp most of the way, I guess 2/3 of the way up, which is good. You could end up with your thumb on that. But it's just, it's going to do its job. It's also going to swipe, and really with that straight edge, it's going to catch and split whatever it hits. And man, I do respect that. Piper says, sweet knife, T-Kel. Yeah, agreed. He makes some really cool kind of wicked big holes. Says Ryan Walker's got stuff. Yeah. He makes some pretty wicked looking stuff. This has definitely whet my appetite. Basically a double-edged lamb's foot, triple edged, sir. No, I hear you. That is what it is. Lamb's foot. That's a good way of putting it. That's a blade shape we've seen from GEC. So kind of a Warncliffe, kind of a sheep's foot, but you got a sharp edge here, here, and here, and then the point is just ridiculous. And his grinding skill is pretty ridiculous. Everything is super symmetrical on this. Very, very nice knife. And then ships with a Kydex sheath, very nice sheath with some jimped thumb push off there, and a clip for side carry. Before I put on the ring, I carried this one day at work, right up front, and scout carry right up front, and it carried great, and it was easy to hide over my shirt, my sweater that I keep at work because it's so freaking cold there. With the ring, it adds a little bit of weight and it adds a little bit of length, so it will have a different different profile. But you can see where the purple scale ends there. That is the profile of the handle. So your pinky kind of ends up on this downside, which is actually very good for a everyday carry fixed blade that's meant for self-defense, because the grip is very good here, but the handle itself isn't too long without that ring. And even with the ring, it's pretty good. Though I do run into this with almost everything with a ring. My hand does not come all the way down into the choil. I guess I could go like that, but that spreads out your fingers, and that's a bit of a recipe for doom. So it can accommodate large hands, and it can accommodate my medium-sized hands. Look at that thing. This is very cool. Very, very nice knife. Early morning coming for me. Really good stuff, Bob, and everyone. Take it easy. Stay well. You too, G. Gleck. Please have a great night and have a wonderful morning. And then, of course, an awesome weekend. As we established, this is the start of the weekend. Boba Fettuccini, what was the very first knife that really got you into knife world and collecting? It's going back quite a ways, but it was the Cold Steel Master Tanto. Boba, I don't know how old you are, but I was 17, or I was like 16 when I got it, and this was the late 80s, and I bought it at a mall, the Randall Park Mall in suburban Cleveland, which was abandoned for quite a long time before. It was the biggest mall in the world for a while, before the Mall of America. And yes, they had a Remington knife shop there, and they sold that Cold Steel. And then eventually they sold the Trailmaster. And but I remember my good friend Mike, introducing me to Cold Steel. And like, this is what CIA guys carry, and you can pound it through a car door. That's all I needed to hear. I was like, holy mackerel. It looks like a samurai sword. CIA guys carry it, and you can pound it through a car door. I mean, so it was that. And that's quite a while ago. More recently, I would say, more recently, coming to the late 90s, the Emerson Commander really caught my attention, and I bought it in 2000. And then Cold Steel started doing folders, and I've always been into the tactical. I was like, oh my gosh, the Cold Steel folders, and then eventually Spyderco, and then eventually everything else, But that very first one was this 6-inch bladed Master Tanto by Cold Steel. So how about you? Actually, let me know in the comments what it is for you. And interesting thing is, I want to do a variety is the spice of life show, because I love, I had the knuckle duster knife here. I had this old knife from my grandfather here. I have this knife here, the Bestech Bihai. I have a lot of different things, and I love them all. And then my parents have done quite a bit of traveling over their time, and they always got me a knife from wherever they went, if feasible. And that, man, they took my dad took some risks that I'm glad I'm just glad he made it. Okay, let's see this right here. This is the Best Tech Behi Hinderer Collector. Good to see you, man. Hello, Bobby says. We got Hinderer Collector 41. Look at this beauty here. This thing is the Behi. It is part of the Ostap Hell designed bouquet series, and it is small and useful and wicked. I mean, this thing is very small. It's deceptively small, but man, I love that blade shape, and it's based on the Palulu leaf. That's some sort of a flower. But look at how it fits in the hand, and you're just like, oh, nothing, and then and then you got something. You've got a very, very powerful hawkbill blade there. Kevin Moore says, had a friend give me the new CRKT Tie 2. Oh, very nice. It's a skeletonized handle, cool lockback. Okay. I think I'm thinking of something else, but I like Brian Tye's designs. I can't say I love them, but I love how unique they are. Professor EDC says, Bob, Jim, fellow Yankees, hope you're all doing well. Sorry for being late. What's going on? Oh, Professor, no apologies. It's great to have you here. We're just checking out some new knives. And it looks like Hollywood Tactical wants to come on and have a knife battle drop shut action. We can do a knife battle drop shut action. All right. Well, I got a couple here. I'll go head to head in these last 25 minutes. Boba Fettuccini says, my dad gave me a rusty buck knife when I was 10 years old. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. That's the kind of thing. I mean, I guess if we're going to go back that far, my grandpa gave me an old scout knife, with the awl and the blade and the bottle opener, and I used that thing for years for every little knuckleheaded project I had. I mean, I always got these great ideas of things I was going to make. And in my mind, they were going to be epic, cool, awesome things. And I'd get that knife and I would use it. And I'd be like, God, I'm so limited in what I can do and what I have and my tools. But that was always the knife that came along with the harebrained schemes. Actually, I have it over here. It's this one. Nope. I must have moved it, but it looks a lot like this kind of thing. Great knife. The one that I'm thinking of. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, I'll have to find it. Maybe I'll say a prayer. Oh, here it is. Prayer to Saint Anthony. Okay. See that? Yeah, that's the awesome knife with the bail. Let's see, Bob, finish the state of the collection, and then I'll bring in Hollywood Tactical. All right, I guess I'm saying the quiet part out loud. So this is the Behi, also given to me by Best Tech, and I have a review going up of this very soon. The front flipping action on this is exquisite, and this thing is just awesome. Okay, lastly, I want to show you this. A young man, and I can say that honestly, he's 18 years old, has a knife company called Shed Knives, and he makes knives in his shed, and he's got a little business going. I shouldn't say a little business going. He's got a business going, a young man, and he's kicking butt, and I'm going to do a full review of this. I have the box and everything that I'll show, but check this out. He's got, I don't know, 9 different models, and this little beastie he calls the US Tonto, and it does look like a reverse Tonto, and I think that's why he calls it the US Tonto. And oh man, it feels really good in hand. It's got that grind reminds me of a kind of a Medford grind, with it's on a thick slab of steel, but with it's a hollow grind, but it doesn't have much space to hollow out. You can sort of feel it. But a high relief edge, it's wickedly sharp, but it's just stout as all hell. SK for Shed Knives, number 23, great jimping. These G10 handles feel really good in hand. And he wrote a note, which I'll read when I do a review of this, but part of the note says that he's going to be moving to CNC automation for his scales, and when he gets new ones, he'll send those to me, and he thinks it'll improve comfort and uniformality. Is that a word? So beautiful knife. I'm very happy for this guy, and I want to talk to him and learn more. But just a beast of a little fixed blade knife. It's not that little, but it's a beast. It sure is, and that's a 3-inch cutting edge, and then half. So overall, like 3 3/4 inches, but a third of that, or 3 inches of it, is sharpened. Love this, and I'm impressed. And man, I wish at 18 I had the gumption to do something like this. I feel like when I think of myself as a young person, young man, I mean, barely a man when I was 18. Some people are men before they hit 18. It took me about till the time I had children, till I felt like a man. I mean, honestly, I felt like a big kid for a long time. But this guy is knocking it out with a business. So I wish him all the luck, and I look forward to reviewing this knife. I'll put this out while I talk to these
Bob. The word is uniformity.
Gentlemen. Uniformity. What did I say? Uniformality.
Right. Yeah, you're mixing formality with uniformity. So I know we're getting to that age.
It's like I don't have much time. I got to cut down on my words. I'll just put them together.
Yeah, and you that handle is G10. I thought at first it was micarta. So that's definitely G10.
Yeah, that's what he says. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it actually was micarta as well.
Yeah, it kind of looks it because it looks fairly flat,
Yeah, and what looks like micarta to me is it sort of looks like micarta in the green. Obviously, looks got something on it. I don't know. I got to read more about it and talk to this guy. But yeah,
looks like Brent's got this. A
yeah, Brent, how you doing, man?
I'm been pretty good.
Brent, how's it going, sir?
What he's got?
Good,
it's
man.
Going
it's good
pretty good. It's good seeing you. I don't know if you
want to show Brent.
Oh, this old guy here, this old Hinder Bowie. This thing is beat to the brim because I'm doing a series with it. It's pretty cool. It's already gotten so much wear and tear on it.
And that has the maroon handles, right?
It's got the burgundy handles, yes.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. Yeah. I need one of these in my life.
Unoiled, by the way. These are not even oiled yet, and it's taking its sweet time to do it.
Those are nice. Your hand oils.
Yeah.
Your personal filth signature. So what's going on with you? What's new with you,
Well,
Brent?
Tomorrow is Texas Blade Show, and this guy is going to be at the Hinder booth helping out with the Hinder crew.
Right on. Boom. That's awesome,
yeah.
dude.
He gives you a down payment on a house, Brent.
Yeah, he does. No doubt. Well, that's so cool. So what are you going to be doing at the table?
Well, I'll be going live. I'll be doing the live streams, and
that's awesome.
So pretty much they probably be on Instagram, which if y'all don't follow Hinder Knives, it's just Hinder Knives, it's easy to look for.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I don't know if congratulations are exactly in order, but congratulations. That sounds like the dream situation for you. That's really awesome.
And I'm excited.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell.
To the point where I'm like, this is like my dream job that I've always wanted to do. And when I got this, I was like, yes, I want to practice doing my thing that I love doing is showing what the best knives are made for. And stuff like that.
That is cool. It's inspirational, man. Oh God, that's the one I was going to ask you at some point. I need a Project X, and I say need, and I also need a Maximus. I don't know. Oh, beautiful.
That's the prototype.
Wait, is that for version 2? Is that?
Yeah, this is
thinking
is
about
the version.
Picking up
Yeah, the version 1 doesn't even look like this. It looks way different. he made it this way so that way people can take out the tool if they want to do the tool, if they want to take apart. This doesn't have the thing right here where they redid it, but it's an older. No, it's just older. Yeah, there's my other clip.
So do they sell this now? Is this something you can just
Yeah,
buy?
you can buy them. They made magnet cut now with them now. So,
oh God.
And then somehow they're going to be coming back with these.
Is that a full track? Old school knife fight. That's right.
Hey, there you go.
Is that the full track?
And then here's the half track.
Byron, thanks for the great live. Got to hit the hay. I hear you, man. Bye, all.
Yeah.
Hey, Byron, thank you
Bye,
for everything,
Byron.
man. You have a wonderful night, man, and great weekend. Damn, the blade stock on that shed knife is formidable. Looks good, affordable too. Yes, yeah, definitely. I think this guy is going to be worth supporting for sure. Now I'm going to take this out and thump on it this weekend, and do some kindling and see how it does. My first filth signature, my personal filth. That is not mine, but at this point I've used it so much I may as well just. But I first heard that from Advanced Knife Bro, and he's just a funny dude anyway.
Personal filth signature is great.
Yeah.
Here you
Collector,
go,
I
Bob.
should be seeing you at the art. Okay, so Brandon is going to see you at the booth. What were you just showing?
This is a Battlefield pickup Eclipse.
Ooh, nice.
With the textured back and just your normal style.
What's up,
and also,
Paul?
And there's some special things on it.
Nice.
LBS has a rare LBS hinder thing on it, and then that classic tactical Raptor thumb stud.
We have Paul Munko with us, and who was just carrying Paul's new knife? I think it was this old sword was carrying the your new knife model, and now the name escapes me because I'm tired and I'm in front of a microphone and I can't seem to ever remember it. But Paul, it's great to have you here. I really want to eat one of those Battlefield pickups. Really cool idea. Do you mean eat?
Like what? What?
Auto correct.
Yeah, okay. I was kind of wondering.
Well, if that's the only way I could have one, I'd eat it too. Hollywood Tactical, you wanted to have a drop shut battle.
If you wanted, because we haven't had a knife fight in a long time. I meant knife fight. I couldn't remember if it was knife battle or knife fight or. Yeah,
I got you. All right. So we will do that. And we do it to drop shut or to not drop shut.
I mean, I've got a $10 Ganzo that drops shut like there's no tomorrow. I mean, I don't think it necessarily means
definitely meant get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in today's slang, when you say you ate something, like it means like Paul Munko, he really ate it with that last knife design. So
he did not do
no, did a great job.
Yeah. And the new one is the Clairvoyant. Thank you. That's what it is. Note to self: shorter, easier to remember name. No. Clairvoyant's good. Clairvoyant is good. The name
I don't
isn't
think you
the
need
problem.
short. I don't think you need short.
The speaker is the. No,
I think things like Clairvoyant, Nemesis. There's multi-syllable, and I think they're great knife names.
All right, I'll give you one, Paul. One of your new designs, if I may, should be called. This is one of my favorite all-time words. Has been since I was a kid. Espionage.
Yeah.
The Munko knives espionage, and it would have to be like a slick, something
like a tactical.
All your designs are slick.
Yeah,
something that you could reach vital organs with. The espionage.
I mean,
great.
And I can't think of a knife name that's espionage yet. Can you? I can't think of one.
No.
You'd think there'd be more than one, but I can't think of a single one.
Yeah.
So it's open.
Yeah. So, there you go. I freely give it out into the world and see what happens.
See, has that been used?
That would be a great name. I don't think so. I don't think.
Look, amongst the four of us, if we can't come up with it, it's not well known enough that it's pretty much open.
Exactly.
And by the way, when you when you say that, then somebody's gonna watch it and say, "Oh, I'm gonna take that name," and then somebody's gonna do that, and I don't.
But they can still refer to this and say we gave it to him first.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Even if they beat him to
not only that
on the design.
I'm thinking at this very moment, Paul Munko is probably the most accomplished knife designer among us at the moment,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
if you
so
remember, I gave Dave a Blade Banner. I suggested the Solaris again,
oh, did you?
multi-syllabic. Yeah,
Very nice. I did
it's a
not
very
realize
famous
that.
It's a very famous Tarkovsky film from the Soviet Union.
Yes,
They
right.
remade it with the director Steven Soderbergh in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He remade it with George Clooney.
That was actually a pretty good movie. That was the one where they're flying into the sun.
No, that's Solar or something like that. That's
okay.
a Danny Boyle movie.
But that's
Steven
the one I'm
Soderbergh,
thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. The Vital Organator.
The Vital Organator.
Although I don't think that would fly. I don't think Organator would fly.
But you know what? I got to say, some people like there's the Kaiser Assassin, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And it's like this very, very pedestrian EDC
right.
knife. I'm like, why would you, of all your knives, why would you call that one the
would
Assassin?
Almost make sense. You don't want a super tactical knife with a super bloody name. It's too much. It's overkill. I don't know.
But
no?
Yeah, but likewise, you don't want an EDC that you might just probably have on you all the time, that heaven forbid you need a knife or something, and then you're in court and they're like, this
the Kaiser
scary
Assassin
knife. Yeah.
Kai's like, I call the Assassin. Yeah, it's premeditated.
But I swear it's not for that. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
What do they call it? That
the Cosmos. There we go.
Oh, the Cosmos. I have one in the works called the Cosmos, like space, but not the girly drink. Oh, I love Cosmos.
He's thinking about Cosmo coming from, I believe, Cosmopolitan, right? Isn't that what it was from? I remember them first in the 90s in San Francisco. It was like the popular new thing for girls.
I remember it from the early 2000s in New York. It was I think Sex in the City is what made the
there you go.
Cosmopolitan a big drink.
It made it a household.
He's saying the Cosmos.
Exactly. I don't think they're to be confused. Yeah. Carl Sagan, Cosmos. Yeah.
Carl Sagan. That's what I'm going for. Yeah.
Right.
Billions and billions of stars. I remember Carl Sagan from early days of my youth.
Yeah. In the late 70s, he really introduced astronomy, science, to young people. He was Bill Nye before there was Bill Nye.
Yeah, except Bill Nye is not an actual scientist. He's just a goofball who has a science show. Paul Munko says, if someone gets killed with the clairvoyant, then goes to court, it will be like a case of they should have seen this coming. Yes, exactly.
The Stab Master Unlimited. That's great. That's perfect.
Oh yeah.
That is good.
Letter, yeah.
The Spyderco blood letter. Oh yes. Okay, we got some good stuff happening here. All right, I like this idea of a knife fight. Let's get this knife fight going, and then we can have a little bit of a debriefing. Now, since I have you both here, this is actually a classic matchup right here.
I think so. I think we've got the polar opposites of this debate as far as drop shutty or not, because Mr. Hydraulic is in the house. So,
Mr. Hydraulic, But before we do this, I want to ask you, Hollywood Tactical, what do you have? What are you excited about right now, knife wise? You got a couple you can show us, and
I don't know if I showed this already. I finally got the speaking of drop shutty, I finally got the double helix, the Wii double helix.
Yeah, and
this will actually be part of my my knife fight argument, that you can have drop shutty and incredibly robust. I mean, the possibility of this failing on you is pretty much zero. It's also incredibly innovative, right? It's got the feel of an axis lock, but as you can see, the spring is not only external, runs the entire length of the scale. I mean, this is something from outer space. I mean, the idea of this. Oh, hey, let me show this side. The idea of this knife is elegant both in form and function. So, again, people who are like, I don't buy Chinese knives, it's like, wow, you're missing out on some of the most innovative, high quality and robust cutting implements there are. So it just seems odd that something, it's a lot like, you remember, Bob, in the early 80s, people were like, I will never buy a Japanese car. My father was that way. We never had Japanese cars. We drove really, really bad quality, terrible Fords and such. They were terrible cars, broke down constantly. But my father was like, I will never buy a Japanese car. We only buy American cars in this house. And we got, the early 80s were the low point for American car makers.
Yes, they were.
In terms of quality, design, it was terrible.
We had a Chrysler K car. That was,
well, there you go. And yet so we missed out on all these incredible, some of those, I see 80s Toyotas on the road sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you're in California.
Probably have like 500,000 miles on it,
Yeah.
So
California, nothing rusts there, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
you
yeah.
Amazing
you can drive a car forever here. You're never going to get the salt damage. You're not going to get the seasonal damage. Yeah.
I remember the first time I went to visit a friend in Los Angeles years and years ago. We were driving on the highway and I'm seeing all these cars. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen one of those in a long time. And then a Datsun 260Z pulls up next to us.
I drove a Datsun in high school.
Oh, man.
When it was still, by then it was Nissan.
Yeah.
But I had a Datsun. It wasn't a very powerful car.
Did anyone here drive a DeLorean?
Oh, no. Okay, our neighbor had a DeLorean across the street.
There's a guy here. There's a guy here in my neighborhood that has a DeLorean.
Wow.
In really good shape.
They look fast.
Spent a lot of money on keeping that. I mean, it looks like everything's original. I'm sure he spent a lot of money keeping it that way. Strangely enough, the overseas companies seem to be the only ones focused on legitimate value anymore. I look at new benchmade prices are absurd. I mentioned this in somebody's in our chat. You said in last week's episode, I said benchmade. Yesterday I would say they're relying on designs from 10 years ago at tomorrow's prices. And it's a little sad to see that at this point, even Spyderco is about to get eclipsed, even though, Spyderco is very good with instituting new steels, but they're still using GRN on their handles, Can't even update to G10 even,
All right, guys, let's do this.
I'm gonna get controversial. And then here's the other one I'm excited about.
So before, I
love this knife. Look at it. I mean, it's a ludicrous knife. I don't see what the point of this knife is, but it is a very expensive fidget toy, and I love it.
It's for pushing into flesh.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's very fast for deployment either. It's very easy to fail. In other words, if you don't squeeze it 100%, if you're like 98%, it won't. It catches. So
yeah.
It's not.
I noticed that. I had that one here on loan, and I did notice that about it. It took a while to get the hang of it. Hey, but before we get started, Jim, I think it's time. What do you think? Yeah, that's how we do it.
Exciting. We haven't had a knife fight in a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
I like that. That's new. Wow.
Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so obviously, Hollywood Tactical will be arguing for the drop shut, and obviously, Hinderer Collector Brent will be arguing for non-drop shut. You can call that whatever you want, whether it's hydraulic or just washer action. But since Hollywood Tactical is already warmed up,
I can go first.
Okay, hang on. All right,
Brent's gonna need the extra time to prepare because
I'm gonna need.
Hey, Matthew.
I'm gonna need to.
We got Matthew Christensen with us. Hello, sir. How's it going, man? Great to have you. So we got some stars here. We have Paul Munko. We have Matthew Christensen in the chat. This is awesome. Only a minute before we sign off. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this knife fight. All right. So I think you better go wide on Hollywood Tactical because he's about to start, and you get a minute and a half starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, if you're like us knife guys, we have too many knives to worry about all the other things that a knife is a cutting implement. It should have decent steel, decent edge, decent geometry. But if you want something really ideal for any of those, look at Ed Calderon. He says, buy a $6 Victorinox and carry that around, because you will slice the ever-loving heck out of somebody, the little hawkbill, okay? In terms of sliciness, geometry is what cuts, right? This is considered one of the most famously poorly cut knives, the Mordax. Everyone says it's too thick behind the edge. It cuts good enough for me. So even something with a notoriously bad for snobs cuts perfectly fine. What I love about it is that sometimes when I'm cutting, I'm usually, when I have to cut something, I'm usually one-handed because I'm holding it with one hand. Then I got to flip it open, cut the thing because I'm concentrating on whatever I'm working on, and then just let it shut. I don't want to have to take a buck 110 and put it against my thigh or my leg and close it that way and fiddle around with it. I'm going to drop whatever I'm trying to cut with. Otherwise, if it's the edge retention, the geometry that we're worried about these days with modern steels,
5 seconds.
Today's 420J is yesterday's super steel, and I fidget with my knives 10,000 times more than I ever cut anything with it. So I need my expensive fidget toy. So that's I'll end with that.
All right. And I think you that's beautiful. I think you
don't have to sacrifice quality, strength, anything.
Your time is up, sir.
Get plenty of,
yeah.
I'm cheating.
Your time. But I think you were proving my point about being 500 feet up on a monopole and having to cut something, and you're like, just let it drop in there, and then you put it in your pocket, and then you go about your whatever you do up here. So I think
we've all been there. We've all been there where you just want to put it down,
Oh yeah. Matthew Christensen says, all shuts are nice, drop or not, as long as it's smooth. I cannot disagree with that. All right. Sure. Knife fight part 2. This is for the non-drop shut, and we will let you define what that is in 3, 2, 1, go.
So for the non-drop shutty people, they are good. They are better to have a non-one because, well, when you have one that just does dangles all the time, it's good to have. It's good to show off to your friends, but it can also be a big time mistake because if you have that in your hand or whatever you have over there, it may drop shut on your finger and it may cut yourself very deeply and you may have to get stitches. Don't go what I did. And also, these are better because they don't open like you normal do, like the ball bearings do. They tend to open when you just do it so hard. And then, that's all I got. I don't know anything else.
Wait. I'm not letting you off the hook that easily. Talk about the feel.
Well, the feel is better. I mean, for one, the feel is more smoother if it's on Teflon or Foster's Bronze. Teflon feels more smoother because if you get it wet, it still actually lubricates it. It's still literally like if you got it through oil or anything like that, it still becomes more smoother than it is over time. That's pretty much.
All right. Well, I think you raise an interesting point too, which is, you don't want something to, if people, you might run into this, say with this very drop shutty Tonto here, the Mad Tonto. I really like this knife too, but say you're working and your thumb accidentally gets on there. Yeah, it could fall on you. Whereas if it were open and that happened and it was on bearings, say, or not on bearings, on a washer, say, you might have more of a chance of it not to do that. So
I agree with that too, which is why I don't like frame locks. So for me, it's not so much about drop shutty or not, because actually cold steel is to me what defines that in between point where cold steel is shockingly drop shutty.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's scary. And yes, I know that from experience by slicing all 4 of my fingers. When I got my first cold steel, I was trying to figure out how do you do this one-handed, because I know you can, and I didn't know you had to stick your forefinger up by the ricasso, and then I let it drop. And
but to be fair, I mean, most of them, and this one is a bad example. I think I have another one. Oh yeah, in my pocket, like this, for instance. All you got to do, you don't have to go into any special effort. You let go of it, and it will drop. And if your finger is in the choil, you're safe. If you're back here on one of the other grips, then you're screwed.
Which is what I did.
You
know, again, before I looked it up, I thought I'd experiment because I knew it was possible. And the first time it dropped shut, being a backlock, I wasn't expecting it to drop shut shutty.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. And now think of the Colin Maison-Pierre design with the tonic, where he puts the ball bearing. This is the one made by Bestech, where they put the ball bearing on the interface between the lock and the round part of the tang. I love the Raja 2 says, Ryan, I'm with you, man. But that ball bearing on there is even less surface area rubbing against the round part of the back of the
even
tank.
Smoother.
Yeah, so I need to get that. I've been saying that for ages.
Me too.
I would really like to have that knife.
I'm only missing a few cold steels out of my collection at this point.
Oh yeah,
I've got the Chris Tie Light, the Lynn Thompson special edition. Now I need, but now I need the. I have all the remember how you have all the Voyager XLs?
Yeah.
I have all of them except for the Chris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I still need the Chris. Now here is
should have given it to you.
Well,
I had one. I gave it to Slicey Dicey back in the day, and he turned. I gave it as a gift because he he was down on his luck, and so I was like, oh, I'll send him. I got 2 of them. I don't need. And then he, like a few weeks later, maybe it was like a month later, he sold it on one of his online sales. And I'm like, oh, I gave that to you, dude.
Wow. Yeah. So
but whatever.
This belonged to Metal Complex. This is the A. Purvis Xerx. I think it's one of the first sort of in between where it's kind of custom, kind of machined, kind of production. And this is my first example of a high-end frame lock that has that hydraulic, as you can see. So that's when I first experienced, okay, I see why people say that they like that hydraulic feel rather than just the drop shutty. See?
Yeah.
See, it's that hydraulic. It's nice and controlled.
It feels good to guide in with your hand.
Yeah, now I get it. Once I felt this, then I started realizing, okay, I see what people mean by having it nice and controlled. Okay?
That's a nice
look. To me, it's a very, it's got this this micro milling in the titanium. I wore this to one of my friend's funerals. This is kind of my dress up knife, and it's beautiful. It's elegant. Sorry. Well, it's LA. She committed suicide. It's a very tragic thing. But something like this is just as elegant. I mean, I could dress up with something like this as well. With this, the Blockow. Right, these are all very drop shutty.
The Blockow. Wait, hold it. The Blockow. Are you getting tired of that?
God, that's no.
Are you getting tired of that knife? Are you sure?
This is a forever knife. This I know. Trust me, this is not easy to get anymore because I think I don't think they're going to make another run. I don't think it's officially discontinued.
Dude, they have not made that knife forever. I mean,
they haven't made it in a couple of years. I don't think they've officially discontinued it, but I'm almost positive I've yet to see a single second run yet. And on the secondary market, they are not selling for very affordably. And I'm telling you, this might be okay. So if we have to choose a Apocalypse folder, it might be this one for me. Originally, it was going to be a cold steel, but it might be this one.
Miguel Barbudo is one of my favorite knife makers, period. He actually just today posted a beautiful, he makes these beautiful traditional ratchet lock navajas.
Oh.
And he's out of Spain. Actually, Professor EDC did a great interview. I think it was great. I didn't understand a word, but I watched it for a while.
You're gonna do one, yeah.
Oh my god, dude, his knives are just unreal.
I'm really scared of this knife, but the action on it is unbelievable.
You should probably send it
Oh
my
yeah,
way.
I'm scared. I'm gonna have to send it.
All right. Well, actually, this is an APB to everyone out there. If a black cow becomes available somewhere, let me know as soon as you can, because that is truly one of those knives that that I slept on. And I did not sleep long. That was like a nap, because it was a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
You know, they did.
And there's two versions. There's the gray, and I think just the clear. Those are the two versions. That's it. I got so this cool. Is the darker gray one, nice. Which I like this one better. Although it's more or less the same. And then this is like a marbled, a shredded carbon fiber, or I think, I'm not sure if it's marbled or shredded or what exactly the difference is. But just the fit and finish is so unbelievable. It's also, you know, it's drop. So this is to my argument that why drop shutty is great, because you can we've reached a point of singularity in knives where you can get something incredibly drop shutty that's also extremely secure, extremely hard use. I guarantee you, these are just as hard use as, you know, your Buck 110 or your Cold Steel or whatever kind of Spyderco. You can heavy use these too. Like if you're a painter or a carpenter and you need to really a ZT, you really need to beat the hell out of your knives. I believe these will last. Yet they have a level of elegance, and again the action, the smooth action, and these don't have the problem of the soft detent. These have no detent. You know, you have to release it in order to get it to release. So this will not fly out like what Brent mentioned, which is true. You know, with the Mordax, I can eventually whip it out.
Whip it, yeah.
So, you know, if that is a genuine thing with these button locks, I can barely get the Malibu to do it. But yeah, whereas you know, they're never going to do that because they don't really have a detent per se. This one, the double helix, doesn't have it at all. Likewise, the original, not the flipper Elementum, but the original button lock Elementum is also the same thing, where you have to release the button. So this will never whip out either. And again, this is more of an affordable version, both drop shutty, and because of the way they did that button lock, this will not fail on you either. So this is a knife that you could beat up too. So
I have heard that knife is a very stout and sturdy.
We've reached that point where you can start having it all now. It didn't used to be that way even a few years ago.
And I'm afraid I've reached that point.
Great.
I got to be up in 4.5 hours. My pleasure, man. Come back on, both of you guys. Come back on, and come. And if you can make it, come back on a little bit earlier, because I'd love to keep talking.
I just got in, yeah. I will. I was running around. I was here at the beginning, then I had to run around and then come back. So yeah, cool. I'll try next time.
Anytime, you guys, anytime, literally anytime. But if you can even make it earlier, that's even better, because you're both two fine gentlemen, but we always actually have fun talking, so I appreciate it. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming and joining us. Brent, you have an awesome time tomorrow.
Thank you.
It's your day to shine tomorrow, and make the most out of it. And you can make a future out of it, no doubt. Hollywood Tactical, always a pleasure, man. I love your insights, and I love your black cow. I mean, you've got some great knives.
You just like me for my black cow.
I just like you for your black cow. All righty, guys, take care. And